Hi guys, sales today. This isn't something that comes up that often for y'all. I don't go over this much because it's not that overly relevant in the You Build It world, but it's a good little topic to go over, and it's kind of handy, and it will have place. And it came up for me recently with realizing that we have slowly let our pricing get out of control. We're paying too much for materials and too much for labor, and I had to drop everything a minimum of 10 and preferably 15% across the board. The struggle with that is there's some areas where you have no say. I mean, lumber and those things, there's just so many bridges, so I'm kind of locked there. But what I want to go over today, and I'm not going to get lost in that, I'm just saying where it came up from, is negotiating. Negotiating can be very difficult, and you know what? I'm just going to go over very basics, core basics of negotiating a deal with someone. Most of y'all know this. Go ahead and turn off now if you're bored. I'm not trying to kill too much. But when you are getting an item, when you are buying something, when you're buying a lot, when you are buying an electrician, when you are buying a vehicle, when you're buying a TV, whatever it is, anything that allows for negotiating at any level, there's only one thing you can do that guarantees you'll lose, and that's fall in love with an item. If you want a specific thing, if you want a specific person, if you want a specific car, if you want a specific lot, if you want a specific home, you're dead. You're dead before you began. If you're in love with that one and you have to have that one, you're dead. And you look at me like a car and go, well, that's ridiculous because there's 24 dealerships and they all carry the same one. You'd have to be in love with a certain dealership as well. Otherwise, yes, you can fight the negotiating on there. But if you're in love with the one, you're screwed. What you always want to do is try to have zero emotional involvement, or at least be able to have evaluation involvement. In other words, Joey is the best man in school. As the Brady Bunch used to say, he's the BMC, the big man on campus. Joey is super beautiful, fabulous, tall, good-looking, athletic. He's got the big muscles, and Joey's got money and drives a really nice car. How do you draw a car? There you go. Now, Billy, on the other hand, is very mediocre. He's mediocre man on campus. His hair's thinning a little bit already, and he's kind of short, and he doesn't have big muscles, and he has a job, but it isn't much bank, and he has a car he can drive, but he borrows his dad's. So, damn it, you're in love with Billy and not Mickey. I don't know what names I call him. I just changed. Billy and Mike. Ooh, I like that because I got big man and middle man. So, and then we have Timmy, who is teeny man on campus. Timmy's just a little bitty feller. He doesn't count. He doesn't even have a job. He has a bicycle. So, you know, that's all he can drive. And Timmy's just sad. So you got to take one of them old boys to prom. Everybody tells me I talk about women too much. I'm trying to change it around some. Aren't you lucky? And it's who to go. Well, obviously, there's the king right there. But what happens when you find out Mike's parents for prom have rented a limo and they're paying for Aerosmith is coming along to do a ride along with you and make it the party of a lifetime? Well, the value now becomes Mike. So where's the value? How did things fall out? Was that the worst illustration ever done? Yes. It was terrible. It was god-awful. I hope it was awful. I hope it confused you, because maybe it will help go where I want to go now, because it intentionally sucked. But you get the point. By the way, guess what? Heck with prom. Teeny man on campus. His grandma died and just left him $3 million. Who's the best looking guy on campus now? Teeny guy. He just got real good looking. He was able to buy steroids, and he got a personal trainer, and he has all the money, and he's driving a Ferrari, and he's still got cash in the bank. So he just became the big man on campus with the rotation. So the secret is find the value. There is no such thing as that's the perfect vehicle. even if it is better, even if this Ford is so much better than this Chevy, if this Chevy is 80 cents on the dollar to this Ford, the relative value takes it above. Realize the relative value. Now, when you are negotiating, your goal is to win. It's a game. This isn't a win-win. This isn't an ethical thing. This isn't anything else. It's for fun. It's a game. Your goal is to win the game. So what do? Mistake most people make is they find out their favorite, because that's the one I really, really want, and they go in and they go for the hard low ball. I would challenge you, pick your 3 favorites. 1, 2, and 3. 3 is our worst case scenario. 3 is where we settle if we must. Leave 3 alone. 3 is for the very end. But don't make the mistake of going for the one you love the most. Go in and steal number 2. To try to stay with the original, I love the Ford. It's what I really, really want. And they're asking 50. And I like the Chevy okay, and they're asking 45. What I really want is the Ford for 42, and then I'd died and gone to heaven. So most people are going to say, well, that's what I really want, so I'm going to go offer 42 for it. The problem is you don't know where you're going to sit yet, and you're going to get you're going to get your fanny kicked here. So when you go low ball, when you go hard, when you go for a victory, the problem is this. One of 2 things happens. The seller either A, makes a huge move. So if they're asking 50 and I want to pay a max of 42, I don't offer 42, I offer 35. I got to move them suckers way down, because they're not going to make very big moves after the first initial. You got to get the first huge chunk. But the problem is this. They're either going to make a huge move or they're going to lock up. And they got to take out to, I wouldn't sell that ass if I had to eat, and everybody that may I got to pay retail is going to be what's going to be. That kills you. By the way, where do I do this constantly? Buying advertising. When you're buying advertising, be aware of these systems. It's more important than buying a vehicle. So maybe this is the one I really want at that price, and this one was 45, and this one at 40 isn't quite as good as this one at 42, but it's a little bit closer. I'm going to go and I'm going to start with number 2. And I'm going to say, in this case, because we're dealing with those numbers, they're asking 45. The maximum I would be okay with is 40, but I get real happy if I'm at 37. So I'm going to go in here, and if I lock you up, I don't care. You're not the one I wanted anyway. And I'm going to offer 33. They're either going to lock up and I get to quit wasting my time with number 2, because they're just number 2, or they're going to move so huge I'm in the game. The kicker is this. If they make the big move, you can't use that to go negotiate 1. You have to negotiate in good faith. So if I go in at 33 and they come back at 37, I buy at 37. And by the way, I'm thrilled to friggin' death. This is where you get your best value. You know why? Because emotionally, you don't deep down really want it. And it's just about the money, so you can hit them hard between the eyes. If they lock up, if they come back and they come back at 40, I know I can live with 40, but I don't really want 40, and I was clear I wasn't doing 40. But I hold that in my pocket. Don't burn the bridge, hold it. Now I can go over here where they were asking 50, and my max is 42, and I can offer 39 and see if I can move them down into that 42 range where I really wanted to be. So now we come back and we say, okay, Bob, what happens if you screw it up? What happens if you completely locked this one up, and then you completely locked that one up, where the very best deal you can get is you maybe get that one for 49 now because everybody hates you? Well, you go number 3. Because if you're not emotionally attached, if it's about the numbers and winning the game, you hit them hard and you hit to win. So you say, okay, Bob, you went hard, man. You went big. You swung for the fences. And Ford shuts you down, Chevy shuts you down, Dodge shuts you down. What are you going to do? Play a new game. Anybody ever consider a bicycle? Anybody ever consider going used or other routes? I mean, you play a different game. If you play too hard, you go to two different games. Where is this relevant to y'all? Again, coming back when you are doing your advertising. What is your favorite advertising? Go ahead and start with that. Now, who are the competitors? Is your favorite radio? Who are your radio competitors? Is your favorite TV? Who are your TV stations? Is your favorite billboards? Who are the billboard companies around? Pick number 1, 2, 3, line them up, and go to number 2 and make an offer so incredible that there's no way you would ever get it. That negotiation might win. You may get it. But if you don't, it frames you to know what room you can play with when you go negotiate your first one, the one you liked best. Try and negotiate the limo with middleman. Well, we now know what our structure is. We go with big man. Try to get your number 1. So if there's 3 radio stations, and radio station, we decide, period, the only thing we're interested in is morning drive, which, by the way, is the best place to be on radio. Everywhere else pretty well stinks. So we're going to go morning drive. And station number 1 is $200 an ad. And station 2 is $150 an ad. And station 3 is $100 an ad. We're going to start with station number 2. And you know what we can afford? We can afford 35. That's all we got. So we're going to go to station number 2, and we're going to offer them 20. And we're going to see where they move. And by the way, if all they come down to is 80, we know that we can get somebody by half. So that means we're going to go ahead and go over here if we have to, but we may have to cancel this one because if the best we're going to get is half, we're not going to get him below 100, and 35 is all we can afford. But we go to this guy who's even more negotiable at his 100, and 35 is all we've got, and we offer him 20, and even if he only goes half to 50, usually that guy will move a little farther. We may have to go from our 35 to 40, but by the end, we're going to be able to buy our ad at 40, which is a little higher than we can afford, but it ain't going to kill us because we didn't rise up too much, and we brought them down in the game. Now, if you get over here and you offer the 20, and you got this guy down to 40, and 35 was your cap, before you say yes here or before you go down and renegotiate down here, now you go ahead and go to this guy, and what the heck? Offer him 30. Maybe they come down to 35. Maybe they just start high hoping you're a sucker, but they've got inventory to sell cheap. If they don't, if you can't get them below 120, don't buy. Who cares? You have a very livable one sitting over here, and you haven't even started to negotiate with third place. But if you go in and you decide there's 3 stations, there's classic rock, there's country and western, and there's contemporary, and the only station worth being on, period, is the classic rock, you're dead. You're dead. You're emotionally attached. You believe that if you buy anything other than that one, that nothing is worth having. Start in the middle. You may hit them so low, you may get the buy of a lifetime, and you're not going to be able to believe your good luck. Worst case scenario, you give yourself an idea of where to frame the structure and how to set it. Guys, it's crazy sometimes. I bought ads in Houston doing this exact format for less than I was paying for ads in Wichita, for less than I'm paying for ads now in Cincinnati. It was insane. It was one of those stupid offers. It was one of those where $1,000 each, I'm going to give you 50. We came back at 80. I was hoping to buy at 400. It's insane. Every now and then you get those miracles. But worst case scenario, you find out where your framing is so you can negotiate the next one. And then once you're set, when you expand, when you're ready to add a second station, you'd be amazed the power that your $35 an ad holds with this station down the road when they know you're quite happy with the one you're on and you're only paying 35 bucks an ad. You become a much stronger position on your negotiating. That's enough on this. Was this the best sales training ever? No, it's probably the worst. I apologize. Did we beat around a little bit? Yes, we kind of did. But I hope there was some value, especially at a time when I hope y'all got some focus on buying some advertising and maybe even like us trying to lower the pricing on some of the materials and labor you're paying. If it helped, great. If not, man, I sure appreciate you watching anyway. Have a great day, guys.